You need to configure Agent 1 to answer customer questions about only the Contoso products. The solution must meet the business requirements. What should you do? Options are A. Apply top-piece sampling. B. Modify the system message instructions. Correct. C. Add few-shot examples. D. Increase the value of the temperature parameter. The correct answer is option B. Modify the system message instructions. Explanation notes. Modifying the system message instructions is the primary way to constrain an AI assistant's domain behavior. By specifying that Agent 1 must only answer questions regarding Contoso products, the system instructions will act as a strict guardrail to prevent the agent from answering off-topic customer queries. You need to configure Agent 1 to answer customer questions about only the Contoso products. The solution must meet the business requirements. What should you do? Options are A. Apply top-piece sampling. B. Modify the system message instructions. Correct. C. Add few-shot examples. D. Increase the value of the temperature parameter. The correct answer is option B. Modify the system message instructions. Explanation notes. As highlighted in the requirements, altering the system message ensures that Agent 1 relies on specific operational prompts and guidelines. System messages are evaluative directives that override general generation settings. Hotspot. You need to ensure that Agent 1 dev team can access Agent 1. The solution must meet the security and compliance requirements. How should you complete the Python code? Code segment. Project_client equals AI project client. Endpoint equals my endpoint. Credential equals box 1. My agent equals agent 1. Agent equals project_client. Agents. Box 2. Agent_name equals my agent. Print f. Retrieved agent. Agent.name. Options are A. Box 1. Default Azure credential. Box 2. Get. Correct. B. Box 1. Azure key credential. Box 2. Get. C. Box 1. Default Azure credential. Box 2. Get_version. D. Box 1. None. Box 2. Create_version. The correct answer is option A. Box 1. Default Azure credential. Box 2. Get. Explanation notes. To meet security and compliance requirements by avoiding key exposure, default Azure credential should be used for secure Microsoft Entra ID authentication. To access the existing agent instance as indicated by the print statement, the .get method must be called. You need to recommend an invoice review solution that resolves the issue reported by the finance department. What should you include in the recommendation? Options are A. Azure Content Understanding in Foundry Tools. Correct. B. Chat completions. C. Azure Document Intelligence in Foundry Tools. D. Image analysis. The correct answer is option A. Azure Content Understanding in Foundry Tools. Explanation notes. Azure Content Understanding provides customized, template generalizing extraction for diverse schemas and unstructured data layouts such as invoices without requiring manual training of custom layout models. You need to recommend a solution to support the planned changes and technical requirements for Agent 1 to use the product information stored in Storage 1. What should you include in the recommendation? Options are A. Azure AI Search, correct. B. Azure Translator in Foundry Tools. C. Azure Document Intelligence in Foundry Tools. D. Grounding with Bing Search. The correct answer is option A. Azure AI Search. Explanation notes. Azure AI Search is the industry-standard retrieval system used to index and extract relevant unstructured content from raw storage containers to serve as grounding data for RAG models. You need to configure an indexing pipeline for Agent 1 to retrieve the relevant product information in Storage 1. Which two built-in skills should you use? Select two. Options are A. Language detection, B. Entity recognition, C. Merge, D. Azure OpenAI embedding, correct. E. Text split, correct. F. Key phrase extraction. The correct answer is option D. Azure OpenAI embedding. Explanation notes. For vector search retrieval pipelines, the text split skill chunks document passages to fit model contexts, and the Azure OpenAI embedding skill generates dense numerical vectors representing the semantic meaning of those text chunks. Hotspot. You need to configure the model deployment for Agent 1 to meet the technical requirements. What should you configure? Options are Option A. Set deployment type to standard. Option B. Configure content filters with specific risk thresholds. Correct. The correct answer is Option B. Configure content filters with specific risk thresholds. Explanation notes. Model deployments must be configured with robust content safety filters to automatically catch self-harm, hate, violence, or sexual content before it reaches the end user. You need to configure Agent 1 to meet the security and compliance requirements. What should you use? Options are A. Prompt shields, B. Personally identifiable information, PII, detection, correct. C. Self-harm content filtering, D. Violence content filtering. The correct answer is Option B. Personally identifiable information, PII, detection. Explanation notes. PII detection features analyze conversations for credentials, SSNs, credit card numbers, or physical addresses and mask them automatically to comply with global security rules. Hotspot. You have an Ask a Question node that stores user responses in a local variable named var01. You need to create PowerFX expressions for validation. Options are: Option A is blank, var01. Option B, upper, var01, correct. The correct answer is option B, upper, var 01. Explanation notes. PowerFX functions like upper convert string variables to absolute uppercase structures, whereas is blank validates whether a given form field or user step has processed input. You have a chat app in a Microsoft Foundry project and an Azure AI Search vectorized index. Complex questions must retrieve information from multiple chunks, and multi-turn planning is needed. Which retrieval approach should you use? Options are A. Classic Retrieval Augmented Generation, RAG. B. Chain of thought. C. Agentic Retrieval Augmented Generation, RAG, correct. D. Iterative retrieval. The correct answer is option C. Agentic Retrieval Augmented Generation, RAG. Explanation notes. Agentic RAG uses reasoning loops to decide how to formulate complex multi-hop queries, query multiple data sources in parallel, and dynamically synthesize answers across separate turns. You need to implement end-to-end tracing to capture latency breakdowns and exceptions across agent runs from a Python service. Which two components can you use? Options are A. Log Analytics workspace. B. OpenTelemetry, correct. C. Application Insights, correct. D. The Azure Monitor Agent. E. Microsoft Sentinel. The correct answer is option B. OpenTelemetry. Explanation notes. OpenTelemetry is the industry standard for logging spans, traces, and metrics. Paired with application insights, it monitors end-to-end cloud microservice requests with granular detail. You need to integrate Project One and App One to search documents. Multiple client applications must use the same search configuration, and key-based auth must be prevented with minimal effort. What should you do? Options are A. Enable a managed identity for each application. B. Create a custom HTTP connection in Foundry. C. Call Azure AI Search directly using Entra-ID. D. Configure an Azure AI Search connection in Project One and reference it. Correct. The correct answer is option D. Configure an Azure AI Search connection in Project One and reference it. Explanation notes. Setting up a central Azure AI Search connection inside the Microsoft Foundry project allows all external apps referencing the project context to automatically leverage unified secure access without managing individual API keys. You have a high-volume chat app. Most requests are simple FAQs, but some require advanced reasoning. You need to reduce costs and latency without degrading quality. What should you do? Options are A. Increase the value of max_tokens. B. Route all requests to a smaller model. C. Route all requests to the most capable model. D. Use a model cascade that routes requests to different models. Correct. The correct answer is option D. Use a model cascade that routes requests to different models. Explanation notes. A model cascade leverages a routing engine to direct easy queries to faster, cost-effective models, reserving heavier, expensive LLMs exclusively for queries flagged as complex. You need to inspect individual agent runs to view the ordered sequence of LLM calls, tool invocations, and timing information. Which observability capability should you use? Options are A. Token usage, B. Safety metrics, C. Tracing, correct, D. Monitoring. The correct answer is option C. Tracing. Explanation notes. Tracing captures detailed execution graphs showing exactly when an LLM call starts, which custom tool was triggered, its arguments, return payload, and latency. Developers receive HTTP 403 errors when they send inference requests. You need to ensure they can perform model inference using least privilege. Which RBAC role should you assign? Options are A. Cognitive Services OpenAI user, correct. B. Cognitive Services data reader. C. Cognitive Services user. D. Contributor. The correct answer is option A. Cognitive Services OpenAI user. Explanation notes. The Cognitive Services OpenAI user role provides dedicated data plane access to run completions and inference on deployed models without granting administrative workspace privileges. An Open API tool returns a 401 unauthorized error, and traces show that the API key header is not being sent. What should you do? Options are: A. Configure the tool to use the default connection of Project One. B. Connect the tool to Connection One. Correct. C. Enable identity pass-through. D. Add the API key header manually to the specification. The correct answer is option B. Connect the tool to Connection One. Explanation notes: by explicitly binding the Open API tool to Connection One, Microsoft Foundry automatically injects the stored credential header into the outgoing API call at runtime. Hotspot. You need to ensure that the payment agent workflow in YAML pauses for human approval before proceeding with a refund. How should you complete the workflow definition? Options are: Option A. Add a manual intervention task. Option B. Configure a YAML human in the loop approval step. Correct. The correct answer is option B. Configure a YAML human in the loop approval step. Explanation notes: YAML defined workflow runs support specific state pauses that prompt human managers for a digital signature or manual override before releasing secure actions like payouts. Hotspot. You have a Python service that sends requests to a chat model. Stakeholders report that small wording differences cause validation mismatches. You need to improve output stability while keeping reasoning quality. Options are: Option A. Set temperature to 0. Correct. Option B, adjust top P sampling. The correct answer is option A. Set temperature to 0. Explanation notes. Setting temperature to 0, or very low, forces the model to act deterministically, picking the most likely tokens repeatedly to stabilize format validation. A support agent needs to support multi-turn and cross-session continuity for long cases, reloading historical context automatically. What should you do? Options are A. Persist only the final response on the client. B. Enable memory summarization. C. Create and reuse a conversation by storing and supplying its conversation ID. Correct. The correct answer is option C. Create and reuse a conversation by storing and supplying its conversation ID. Explanation notes. Using persistent conversation IDs tells the Microsoft Foundry Agent Service to reload all historical message threads, tool calls, and state configurations for that specific case. Drag drop. You need to enable long-term memory for an agent to recall preferences across separate conversations, isolated per authenticated user without manual IDs. Options are Option A, use the user identity claims. Option B, enable user-scoped persistent memory in the Python SDK. Correct. The correct answer is option B. Enable user-scoped persistent memory in the Python SDK. Explanation notes. Using the SDK's built-in authenticated user-scoped memory stores preferences under the user's active context without requiring custom database tracking logic. An Open API tool needs to include an API key from a connection automatically. What should you configure in the Open API 3.0 specification? Options are A. An Azure Key Vault connection. B. A header parameter defined for each operation. C. An API key security scheme, correct. D. A bearer token security scheme. The correct answer is option C. An API key security scheme. Explanation notes. Defining a standard security scheme of type, a PyKey, in the Open API document maps the target connection's credential values directly to the corresponding request headers. Hotspot. You need to complete a Python application to authenticate via a managed identity and call the deployed model using the Azure OpenAI Responses API. Options are Option A. Use default Azure credential. Option B. Import Azure OpenAI from Azure Identity and SDK. Correct. The correct answer is option B. Import Azure OpenAI from Azure Identity and SDK. Explanation notes. Default Azure credential automatically resolves managed identities on Azure services. while the Azure OpenAI client executes modern SDK calls against Foundry endpoints. Operational costs increased significantly after an update. You need to identify whether costs are driven by input size, output size, or tool usage. Which capability should you use? Options are A. Evaluation metrics. B. Token usage. Correct. C. Latency. D. Run success rate. The correct answer is option B. Token usage. Explanation notes. Analyzing token usage breakdowns displays total prompt tokens, completion tokens, and index query tokens. This immediately pinpoints where the cost escalation is occurring. You need to improve response completeness of a document summarizing agent before returning responses. What should you do? Options are A. Decrease the value of the temperature parameter. B. Add a reflection pass before the responses are returned. Correct. C. Switch to Retrieval Augmented Generation (RAG). D. Enable response streaming. The correct answer is option B. Add a reflection pass before the responses are returned. Explanation notes. A reflection pass prompts the model to self-evaluate its draft output against required conditions, such as missing guidelines, and refine it before returning the final text. You have three agents: triage agent, policy agent, and action agent. You need to coordinate them using a deterministic, step-based process with conditional branching. What should you include? Options are: A separate agent runs coordinated in application code. B. A multi-agent group chat session. C. A workflow, correct. D. Threads and runs without a workflow. The correct answer is option C, a workflow. Explanation notes. Workflows provide stateful, deterministic, graph-like orchestration that allows conditional paths, sequential steps, and parallel execution across various specialized agents. You plan to ingest PDFs into an Azure AI search index for ground text and embedded images. You need to extract images during indexing to use as input for the built-in OCR skill. Which approach should you use? Options are: A skill set to run OCR directly against the content field. B. The output field mappings parameter to write image data. C. An indexer to extract image data into a normalized _images collection. Correct. D. A shaper skill to restructure OCR input. The correct answer is option C, an indexer to extract image data into a normalized _images collection. Explanation notes. Configuring the Azure AI search indexer to parse images populates the normalized _images collection, which then serves as the downstream input for cognitive skills like OCR. You process scanned invoices. Results are often incorrect because layout is ignored. You need a solution that provides OCR, layout analysis, and template generalizing field extraction without custom training. What should you use? Options are A. An Azure Machine Learning Model. B. Azure Content Understanding in Foundry Tools, correct. C. Azure Language in Foundry Tools. The correct answer is option B. Azure Content Understanding in Foundry Tools. Explanation notes. Azure Content Understanding processes unstructured layouts like receipts or bills instantly, extracting both plain text and hierarchical geometric structures out of the box. An agent processes invoices containing tables and QR codes. You need to preserve layout and detect QR codes without a language model deployment. Which built-in analyzer should you use? Options are A. Pre-built layout, correct. B. Pre-built document field schema. C. Pre-built red. D. Pre-built document search. The correct answer is option A. Pre-built layout. Explanation notes. The pre-built layout analyzer of Azure Content Understanding is designed specifically to capture tables, checkboxes, structures, and barcodes, QR codes without heavy LLM costs. You need to ensure that the Content Understanding Document Analyzer output includes per-field confidence scores and source grounding locations to route low reliability extractions. What should you do? Options are A. Enable estimate field source and confidence. Correct. B. Configure the analyzer to use generative extraction. C. Set enable segment to true. D. Provide labeled samples. The correct answer is option A. Enable estimate field source and confidence. Explanation notes. Enabling estimate field source and confidence tells the analyzer to return precise bounding box coordinates and a float confidence value for every extracted semantic field. An agent has an MCP tool to query Azure AI Search. Sometimes it returns answers from the base model without invoking the tool. What should you add to force the agent to use the tool? Options are A. Tool _ choice equals type MCP. B. Tool _ choice equals auto. C. Tool _ choice equals type knowledge _ base. D. Tool _ choice equals required. Correct. The correct answer is option D. Tool _ choice equals required. Explanation notes. Setting tool _ choice to required forces the agent orchestrator to invoke at least one of the registered functional tools prior to finalizing the conversational completion. Digitally scanned PDFs contain multi-page tables, and plain text extraction is losing table structure. You need a RAG ingestion job that performs OCR, preserves tables as structure-aware chunks, and stores page metadata. What should you use? Options are A. Use basic parsing and fixed size chunking. B. Use advanced data parsing to re-ingest the documents. Correct. C. Use OCR and page-level chunking. D. Use page-level OCR extraction and store each page as a single chunk. The correct answer is option B. Use advanced data parsing to re-ingest the documents. Explanation notes. Advanced data parsing uses layout-aware models to intelligently partition PDFs, maintaining the contextual structure of tables, lists, and headers in the resulting vector chunks. You need to configure Azure Document Intelligence in Foundry Tools to generate a Markdown output that preserves sections and tables with minimal effort. What should you do? Options are A. Increase the confidence threshold. B. Configure output equals figures. C. Configure content equals Markdown. D. Set the output _content _format equals content format. Markdown value. Correct. The correct answer is option D. Set the output _content _format equals content format. Markdown value. Explanation notes. Modern Azure Document Intelligence SDKs expose the output _content _format parameter, which directly passes tables and paragraph hierarchies into clean Markdown formatting. You need to process mixed format documents containing scanned text, tables, and multi-column layouts. What should you configure first? Options are A. An Azure Content Understanding in Foundry Tools Analyzer, correct. B. A generative chat completion request. C. An Azure language in Foundry Tools text analysis model deployment. D. An Azure OpenAI Responses API call that uses a multimodal model. The correct answer is option A. An Azure Content Understanding in Foundry Tools Analyzer. Explanation notes. Before running reasoning steps, a dedicated document analyzer, content understanding, should be deployed to parse and serialize the complex mixed layouts into structured Markdown text. You need to create a single analyzer that extracts fields across varying invoice templates and returns confidence scores below 0.80 for manual review. What should you use? Options are A. The pre-built layout analyzer. B. A Foundry agent with groundedness guardrails. C. A custom Azure Content Understanding Analyzer, correct. D. Pre-built document search analyzer and search score. The correct answer is option C. A custom Azure Content Understanding Analyzer. Explanation notes. A custom Azure Content Understanding Analyzer allows developers to define exact extraction schemas while automatically generating target field confidence arrays. A marketing image contains a competitor's logo in the background. You need to remove only the logo, while preserving the rest of the image. What should you do? Options are A. Increase the prompt guidance strength. B. Modify the original prompt to exclude brand names. C. Apply a mask-based in-painting edit to the part of the image that contains the logo. Correct. D. Rerun the prompt using a different random seed. The correct answer is option C. Apply a mask-based in-painting edit to the part of the image that contains the logo. Explanation notes. Mask-based in-painting targets a specific user-defined region of an image, applying generative modification exclusively to the masked coordinates while keeping other pixels untouched. Hotspot. An agent accepts screenshots. Some screenshots contain potentially malicious embedded text. You need to configure prompt shields for document attacks. Options are: Option A. Set up document prompt shields. Correct. Option B. Configure user prompt shields. The correct answer is option A. Set up document prompt shields. Explanation notes. Document prompt shields inspect third-party file uploads and attachments, like images or PDFs with OCR, to detect and block embedded jailbreak payloads. You need to automatically classify uploaded images for harmful content and block them based on severity levels. What should you do? Options are: A. Implement image moderation. Correct. B. Enable prompt shields. C. Apply keyword scanning to OCR output. D. Use block lists. The correct answer is option A. Implement image moderation. Explanation notes. Azure AI Content Safety's image moderation service scans raw pixel inputs to assess threat severity across categories like hate speech, self-harm, sex, and violence. You want to prevent potentially malicious instructions embedded in uploaded images from being processed as model prompts. What should you use? Options are A. Protected material text, B. Prompt shields for user prompts, C. Image moderation, D. Prompt shields for documents. Correct. The correct answer is option D. Prompt shields for documents. Explanation notes. When OCR text is extracted from images and appended to system contexts, it behaves like an untrusted document. Hence, document prompt shields are required to block indirect prompt injections. Drag drop. You need to implement two pipelines. Pipeline 1 for cost-effective invoice processing, and Pipeline 2 for cross-document multi-step reasoning. Options are Option A. Pipeline 1 to pre-built layout. Pipeline 2 to large language model. Option B. Pipeline 1 to pre-built layout. Pipeline 2 to agent orchestrated workflow. Correct. The correct answer is option B. Pipeline 1 to pre-built layout. Pipeline 2 to agent orchestrated workflow. Explanation notes. Cost-effective, high-speed single document parsing is best handled by standard templates, pre-built layout. Cross-document verification requires complex agents with custom verification rules. You need to configure an image editing workflow so background objects are removed using built-in controls, applying edits exclusively inside a masked area. What should you do? Options are A. Enable text _ to _ image mode. B. Set generation mode to image _ variation. C. Enable image _ to _ image mode. D. Enable mask _ inpainting and supply both input image and mask. Correct. The correct answer is option D. Enable mask _ inpainting and supply both input image and mask. Explanation notes. By supplying both the original photo and a black and white binary mask, the generative editor restricts pixel modifications strictly to the masked mask coordinates. An agent generates images from user product photos. You need to ensure they maintain the product identity and visual characteristics of the original photo. What should you do? Options are A. Set the input _ fidelity parameter to high. Correct. B. Apply a groundedness detection filter. C. Include a prompt and input image. D. Decrease temperature. The correct answer is option A. Set the input _ fidelity parameter to high. Explanation notes. High input _ fidelity values force the image generation pipeline to respect structural, brand, and textile contours of the original input image closely. You fine-tune a baseline speech-to-text model. The agent calls the REST API and returns an error indicating that the project ID is invalid. To what should you set the project property? Options are A. The custom speech endpoint URL. B. The project URL. C. The project ID. D. The custom speech project ID. Correct. The correct answer is option D. The custom speech project ID. Explanation notes. Custom speech services use a dedicated GUID known as the Custom Speech Project ID to locate and run the compiled, fine-tuned acoustic or language models. You need to transcribe live phone calls so supervisors can view transcripts in real time within a few seconds of the audio stream. What should you do? Options are A. Run a batch transcription job. B. Use real-time speech-to-text to process streaming audio input. Correct. C. Use speech translation. D. Use text-to-speech. The correct answer is option B. Use real-time speech-to-text to process streaming audio input. Explanation notes. Real-time speech-to-text processes continuous audio streams over web sockets or chunks, returning partial and final transcript segments within milliseconds of vocalization. Transcript segments contain both English and Spanish. You want to translate them to another language using Translator. What should you do before translating to reduce errors? Options are A. Specify English as the source language. B. Enable automatic language detection. C. Split the mixed language segments into single language segments and translate each separately. Correct. D. Use document translation. The correct answer is option C. Split the mixed language segments into single language segments and translate each separately. Explanation notes. Translating a block of text that changes languages halfway often breaks translation algorithms. Splitting the segments by detected language guarantees correct translation parameters. What is the expected behavior when a custom speech-to-text model endpoint reaches its expiration date? Options are A. Speech recognition requests will fall back to the most recent base model for the same locale. Correct. B. Speech recognition requests will continue using the expired model. C. Speech recognition requests will return a 4xx error. D. The custom model will be deleted automatically. The correct answer is option A. Speech recognition requests will fall back to the most recent base model for the same locale. Explanation notes. To maintain service uptime and prevent critical client app outages, Azure Speech Service redirects traffic to the nearest updated base model once a custom model expires. You need to configure a real-time agent with low latency that receives audio, reasons, and returns spoken responses. It must support turn-taking. What should you do? Options are A. Use an embeddings model to encode and decode. B. Use batch transcription. C. Use speech translation. D. Use real-time speech-to-text for incoming audio and text-to-speech for agent responses. Correct. The correct answer is option D. Use real-time speech-to-text for incoming audio and text-to-speech for agent responses. Explanation notes. Combining low-latency real-time streaming speech-to-text (STT) with a streaming text-to-speech (TTS) engine is the architecture of choice for natural voice agents. Hotspot. An agent has no relevant information found, messages and periodic HTTP 429 errors. What causes each issue? Options are Option A. Retrieval index issues and resource rate limiting. Correct. Option B. Model hallucination and subscription expired. The correct answer is Option A. Retrieval index issues and resource rate limiting. Explanation notes. Empty responses typically indicate indexing or RAG query matching issues, while 429 status codes indicate that transaction volumes have exceeded configured TPM/RPM thresholds. Hotspot. You need to publish an agent for a compliance workflow. Tool calls must authenticate using the published agent's own identity, isolated from other resources. Options are Option A. Enable managed identity for the agent. Correct. Option B. Store connection keys in code. The correct answer is option A. Enable managed identity for the agent. Explanation notes. A system assigned managed identity for the agent allows it to interact securely with Azure key stores, databases, and APIs with individual auditing and granular access rules. Hotspot. You need to plan an agent that retains user preferences across multiple conversations and allows document uploads during chat. Which capabilities should you recommend? Options are: Option A. Persistent user memory and session-scoped file uploads. Correct. Option B. Azure Blob Storage and SQL table mapping. The correct answer is Option A. Persistent user memory and session-scoped file uploads. Explanation notes. User memory saves preferences long-term across separate threads, while session attachments utilize the chat's active session state to provide temporary file grounding. An agent needs to provide accurate context-aware answers grounded in product documentation, requiring deep, multi-step reasoning across long contexts. Which model type should you use? Options are: A. A multimodal model. B. A key phrase extraction model. C. A small language model, SLM. D. A large language model, LLM. Correct. The correct answer is option D. A large language model, LLM. Explanation notes. Complex logic, cross-referencing, and synthesizing multi-page document context require the advanced reasoning capabilities and larger context windows of high-capacity LLMs. Drag-drop. An agent responds without calling tools even when a tool is required. How should you complete the Python code to force tool execution? Options are: Option A. Set tool_choice to required. Correct. Option B. Use tool_choice equals auto. The correct answer is Option A. Set tool_choice to required. Explanation notes. By programmatically declaring tool_choice equals required in your run parameters, you prevent the LLM from executing a direct completion without resolving functional APIs first. You want to centrally manage Azure AI search credentials across multiple agents within Project One. What should you recommend? Options are: A. Enable role-based access control (RBAC). B. Add a connection to the Azure AI search resource. Correct. C. Disable key-based access control. D. Create a managed private endpoint. The correct answer is Option B. Add a connection to the Azure AI search resource. Explanation notes. Registering the Azure AI search instance as a shared connection inside Microsoft Foundry makes its access configurations accessible to all agents in the project automatically. After a content update, the agent's answers are less accurate. You need to identify if retrieved content is negatively influencing responses. Which signal should you review? Options are A. Prediction drift metrics. B. Groundedness evaluation metrics, correct. C. Latency breakdown traces. D. Indexer status and failure history. The correct answer is option B. Groundedness evaluation metrics. Explanation notes. Groundedness metrics calculate the mathematical alignment between generated responses and retrieved document chunks, indicating whether the model is hallucinating outside its reference data. Hotspot. You use GitHub Actions for CD and want to evaluate the agent automatically on PR creation, blocking merges if results fall below thresholds. Options are Option A. Configure evaluation tests and branch protection rules. Correct. Option B. Build a custom Python scheduler. The correct answer is Option A. Configure evaluation tests and branch protection rules. Explanation notes. Running an evaluation pipeline on pull_request events and using branch protection rules on main ensures that failing evaluation tests halt pull request merges automatically. Drag drop. Some answers are unsupported by documents, and others violate safety policies. Which observability signals should you use? Options are Option A. Groundedness metric for document support, safety filter logs for policy violations. Correct. Option B. Latency traces for documents, token counts for violations. The correct answer is option A. Groundedness metric for document support. Safety filter logs for policy violations. Explanation notes. Groundedness evaluations measure factuality against retrieved document bodies, whereas content safety logs record and classify violations across categories like hate speech or self-harm. Hotspot. An agent uploads screenshots to Azure Storage and receives a blob URL. You need to run image moderation via content safety with least privilege. Options are: Option A. Use managed identity to authenticate content safety access to blob storage. Correct. Option B. Pass SAS tokens in the URL. The correct answer is Option A. Use managed identity to authenticate content safety access to blob storage. Explanation notes. Assigning the content safety resource, storage blob data reader, access allows it to securely fetch and analyze images via their URI without passing temporary SAS tokens in API logs. Drag drop. You need to ensure that an agent can calculate during chats, search public websites, and retrieve information from uploaded documents. Match the tools. Options are: Option A. Calculation to code interpreter. Web search to Bing search. Documents to file search retriever. Correct. Option B. Calculation to SQL connection. Web search to Wikipedia API. Documents to database query. The correct answer is option A. Calculation to code interpreter. Web search to Bing search. Documents to file search retriever. Explanation notes. Code interpreter handles computational and math operations. Bing search grounds queries with current web data, and file search indexes parse and retrieve uploaded PDF contents. Calls intermittently fail and return HTTP 429 errors. You need to handle throttling to improve reliability under load. What should you do? Options are A. Implement a retry policy that uses exponential backoff and jitter. Correct. B. Create a new thread and retry the calls immediately. C. Reduce the number of registered tools. D. Split uploaded content into smaller files. The correct answer is option A. Implement a retry policy that uses exponential backoff and jitter. Explanation notes. Standard practice for handling rate limits, 429, is to implement exponential backoff with randomized jitter, spacing out retries to avoid repeating peak spikes. Hotspot. Determine truth value of telemetry assertions when mixing LangChain and OpenTelemetry with custom tracing inside application insights. Options are Option A, yes, no, yes. Correct. Option B, no, yes, no. The correct answer is option A, yes, no, yes. Explanation notes. Distinct namespaces can separate OpenTelemetry from native agent runs, while disabling content recording ensures that private variables or credentials do not leak into telemetry logs. You have a multimodal model. Users can upload unsafe images and embed hidden instructions. You configure image moderation to block unsafe content before processing. Does this meet the goal? Options are A. Yes. B. No. Correct. The correct answer is option B. Number. Explanation notes. No, image moderation only detects explicit or unsafe visual content, like violence or mature themes. It cannot detect or block adversarial text or hidden prompt injection instructions written inside the image. You want to mitigate unsafe images and hidden instructions. You configure a prompt shield for user prompts. Does this meet the goal? Options are A. Yes. B. No. Correct. The correct answer is option B. Number. Explanation notes. No, user prompt shields inspect the incoming chat message string sent by the user, but they do not pass OCR content or indirect injections hidden inside document attachments or images. You want to mitigate unsafe images and hidden instructions. You configure a prompt shield for documents. Does this meet the goal? Options are A. Yes, correct. B. No. The correct answer is option A. Yes. Explanation notes. Yes, document prompt shields are designed specifically to analyze secondary inputs, such as extracted OCR text from uploaded images, to catch and block indirect prompt injection attacks. You want to mitigate unsafe images and hidden instructions. You configure protected material detection. Does this meet the goal? Options are A. Yes. B. No, correct. The correct answer is option B. Number. Explanation notes. No, protected material filters detect and block copyright infringing content, like lyrics or licensed text passages. They do not mitigate adversarial prompt injections or offensive imagery. An agent omits required clauses in summaries. You run an evaluation flow that scores responses and blocks those below a threshold. Does this meet the goal? Options are A. Yes. B. No, correct. The correct answer is option B. Number. Explanation notes. No, while evaluating and blocking low-quality responses prevents bad answers from reaching users, it does not improve the agent's generation capabilities or solve the issue of missing clauses. An agent omits required clauses. You increase the value of the temperature parameter. Does this meet the goal? Options are A. Yes. B. No. Correct. The correct answer is option B. Number. Explanation notes. No, raising the temperature parameter increases generation creativity and randomness, which actually increases the risk of hallucinations and omitting specific mandatory phrases. An agent omits required clauses. You add a reflection pass that regenerates the response if clauses are missing. Does this meet the goal? Options are A. Yes. Correct. B. No. The correct answer is option A. Yes. Explanation notes. Yes, introducing a reflection pass allows the system to check the draft output against a set of rules, like checking if mandatory clauses are present, and automatically trigger a rewrite if any are missing. An agent omits required clauses. You increase the value of the max_tokens parameter. Does this meet the goal? Options are A. Yes. B. No. Correct. The correct answer is option B. Number. Explanation notes. No, max_tokens merely sets the upper limit on the size of the output. If the model is already stopping before that limit or ignoring context, increasing this threshold will not force it to generate the missing clauses.